Hey, Astro Kids, and welcome back. And in today's video, we'll be talking about Aquarius rising. Before we get into this, I first want to give a few quick disclaimers. So, firstly, I'm using Vedic Sidereal astrology. So, if you're coming from Western tropical astrology, this may not work for you. Make sure that you have the correct information. There's a calculator down below in the description so that you have your sidereal placements. Also, this is a general interpretation. So, based upon yoga's dashas, aspects, conjunctions, etc. This may or may not resonate for you. So, this is just to give an overview of what it looks like to have an Aquarius ascendant. So, let's talk about the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius is a fixed sign. That means it is all about security, it is all about remaining stable and fixed, staying in the comfort zone. It is also an air sign, which is all about communication. It is all about spreading information and ideas. Aquarius is also ruled over by Saturn, but it is also co ruled by the shadow planet of Rahu. So, this gives a very interesting duality to Aquarius. On one hand, Saturn makes Aquarius a very traditional, very disciplined, very focused sign. On the other hand, Rahu makes Aquarius very eccentric, very unusual. There is something that is unconventional about the sign of Aquarius. And both Saturn and Rahu are highly practical intellectual planets as well. So Aquarius, very intelligent. Aquarius is a sign that tends to have one of the highest levels of intelligence. So let's talk about the health of Aquarius. And Aquarius perhaps has the most sensitive health out of all of the rising signs because Cancer has rulership over the sixth house of the chart. So, this very watery sign, this watery energy of the moon is coming into the sixth house of illnesses. This definitely means that you want to be careful with circulation with this position, but also Cancer has rulership over the chest and lungs. So, there can be some other issues related to this as well. And with Aquarius ruling over the ankles and shins, there can also be some leg or ankle related injuries that you want to watch out for as well. Mainly, though, for Aquarius, there is a lot of illnesses that are brought on through emotions, through mental difficulties. So you're a very sensitive person. You're sensitive to the suffering of the world. And this can definitely give some health related issues that you want to watch out for. So let's talk about Aquarius being the ascendant, but then Capricorn goes back into the 12th house. This is the only ascendant in astrology that has the first house and 12th house ruled over by the same planet. This is a very interesting situation. So, Aquarius people are concerned about serving humanity at large. Aquarius being in this first house means that they are focused towards the world, towards the whole collective. So, Aquarius people are very caring, very sensitive. They are sensitive to the struggles of humanity. And they are very human people. They are very much about human beings. And the welfare of society becomes very important to Aquarius people. At the same time, though, because Aquarius is co ruled by Rahu, Aquarius people also can be very eccentric, very unusual in their own way. They're very independent thinkers, very unique people who are able to think outside the box. With Aquarius in the first house, you also may be known in a very unconventional way. So that unconventional, eccentric side of who you are also makes you famous, makes you well known by others. Now, because Capricorn has gone into the 12th house of the chart, this can show that you may work in isolation. There may be something about your career that is secretive, that is behind the scenes. Also, though, because your ascendant Lord has rulership over the 12th house as well, you are focused towards the things of the 12th house also. So you are a very spiritual person. You want to understand the deeper meaning of life, and you are interested in otherworldly things like UFOs, aliens, all sorts of spiritual and mystical otherworldly subjects. This can take you deep into meditation, into getting into ashrams, into all sorts of spiritual practices. This could also get you interested in hiking, on going into peaceful places, going into nature with this position. And it can get you interested in foreign travels as well. So Pisces has rulership over the second house of the chart and Sagittarius over the 11th house. This is a very interesting combination as well. Jupiter has rulership over these two money houses, which means that definitely you can attract wealth into your life because Jupiter is also a signifactor of wealth. It expands the resources through this rulership of the second and 11th house. At the same time, though, Pisces having rulership over the second house is a very interesting placement. Pisces is not necessarily concerned with the material things, it is more spiritual, it is more creative, imaginative within its own world. So there is a little bit of a detached feeling when it comes to resources. You don't necessarily care that much if you lose money or what happens to your money. You may need a financial advisor to actually deal with wealth and security. This could also show that you come from a family that has some kind of musical or artistic background, or your family's very spiritual, very hippie like, very otherworldly. There is this laid back environment that you come from with Pisces having rulership over the second house. This can also show that your speech is very dreamy, very spiritual, very philosophical. Sagittarius having rulership of the 11th house, though, will definitely expand your network circles, expand the people who you connect with, the people who can give you opportunities in life, and expand your wealth, your income with this position. But you look for people who are knowledgeable, people who have wisdom, people who you can learn from. You are drawn to people who have deep spiritual, philosophical knowledge. This can also show that something about your religion, your belief system is connected to your ability to gain wealth as well. When you're devoted to a higher belief system, this expands the fortune and wealth that comes into your life. Aries has rulership over the third house of the chart and Scorpio over the 10th house of the chart. Very interesting placements. Aries in the third house definitely shows that you find your sense of individuality through expression. You want to express yourself. You can be very skilled in dramatic arts and performance entertainment with this position. You could have great communication skills. You could be skilled in sports, athletics with this position. And sometimes, because Aries has rulership over the third house, your way of communicating could come across as a little bit aggressive or forward at times. Sometimes you are a little bit misunderstood by others, where you can say things in a very direct way, but your intention behind what you're saying actually comes from a place of compassion, which others may misunderstand. This definitely can show that you have a love of travel, though, because Aries is a movable sign coming into this third house of travel. You love to be active, and you're a very active person. You can definitely take good care of your health through physical activity. Scorpio in the 10th house can show sudden transformations through your career situation. You could suddenly be at the top of your career and then lose that position. So, this means that you definitely want to be careful of getting into scandals, into hidden affairs. This can definitely hurt your reputation. You also could suddenly come up in your career as well. You could suddenly gain fame, gain success with this position. And you could work in the lines of something that is secretive, dealing with secret money, dealing with secretive subjects with this position. You could work in science, research, into something that is mystical. But because Scorpio's here, you want to be the person who is in charge of what you're doing. So you're very independent through your work life. Sometimes it can make you want your own space in your workplace where you don't really want to get involved with other people. Taurus has rulership over the fourth house of the chart and Libra over the ninth house. This is very auspicious. Venus becomes the Yoga Karaka planet, the most auspicious planet for your chart. Because of Libra's rulership over this ninth house, Venus will definitely bring good fortune into your life. Taurus having rulership over the fourth house means that security, family, that sense of comfort and home becomes very important to you. You're very well connected with family with this position. And you can be very social within your home environment as well. You may be more shy and reserved out in public, but then you may enjoy inviting people into your home. That may be a social hub for you. You're a homebody with this position. You like to make your home something that is secure, that is stable, that is comfortable. You may be interested in having earthy tones in your home, or living out in the country, or having just a very peaceful and calm space within your home. This could also make you very creative in your home as well. You may have musical talent, or you may be doing something related to the arts within your home environment. And this could also show a mother who's very nurturing, who's very creative, who is very much this family oriented person. Libra having rulership of the ninth house means that you are very liberal in your views and belief systems. You don't like to have extreme beliefs or to get into extreme belief systems that restrict the freedom of others. So, your belief system oftentimes is about wanting to bring welfare to the people, wanting to bring fairness and justice, wanting to have a balanced approach. It could also show that your father is someone who's very liberal minded, or a teacher, a guru, a mentor in your life could be someone who's very liberal, who is very well balanced, who is about justice and fairness, and could also have some artistic abilities as well. Gemini has rulership over the fifth house and Virgo over the eighth house. So Gemini also becomes a very auspicious sign in your chart. But then Mercury also rules over Virgo in the eighth house of the chart. So Mercury is going to give mixed results for your chart. It's very auspicious with its rulership over the fifth house, but it will bring sudden ups and downs because of the rulership of the eighth house at the same time. So Gemini having rulership over the fifth house means that you could treat your children like friends. You have this friendly connection with children with this position. This also can make you a very talented and creative person, especially with the use of words. You could be talented with singing, songwriting, rapping, with anything that has to do with writing, communication with this position. You're very clever with the use of words. But in general, it makes you a very talented and skillful person. With Virgo in the eighth house, though, it can show that sometimes there are some karmic issues that are related to health concerns, to hidden enemies. Again, you're a very sensitive person when it comes to the conflicts and difficulties of society. So you want to be very careful about what you are dealing with and making sure that you're taking good care of your health and well being, not putting too much of yourself out there into situations where you have to help people all of the time. You want to make sure that you're able to come back and to actually take care of yourself as well. Self love becomes very important with this position. This could also show that there is something related to debt. Sometimes there are difficulties paying off debt for Aquarius Ascendant people, but it could also show that you suddenly gain from debt as well. There is some sudden situation that comes through debts, through dealing with issues with money. Cancer has rulership over the sixth house of the chart. So, again, very sensitive when it comes to health. You want to take close care of your health to make sure that you're not being too sacrificing, too giving to other people, but you're able to take care of yourself as well. This could show that you are nourished by people who are lower class, people who are suffering, people who are older. You have this strong connection with humanity at large. So people tend to support you with this position. And you feel emotionally connected to the pain of society, to the underprivileged. You want to do more to help those in need. This could also show that you are an emotional spender. You can take on debt just by spending through emotion. So sometimes there's a need to be careful with this as well. Leo has rulership over the seventh house of the chart. You really want to attract someone who's very educated, who's very knowledgeable. Sometimes you can attract a partner who is a politician, someone who is in a position of fame, leadership, someone who is well known by the public, but you could have some issues in your relationship because sometimes your partner could be too controlling, too bossy, too demanding, and that could put a lot of stress on you as well, where you feel like you're constantly giving in the relationship and not getting enough back in return. Your partner could be someone who is very dramatic, very regal. They want to be the center of attention, and their status is very important to them. It could also show, though, that your status, your position in life rises through marriage as well. So, on the flip side, your partner could be someone who's very supportive, who also gets you well known or helps you with your sense of fame and status also. So let's talk about what happens when Saturn goes through all of the 12 houses, starting off with Saturn in the first house. And this is a very auspicious position of Saturn. Saturn is in its office sign, its strongest home of Aquarius in the first house. This is going to create a Sasha yoga. So this means that you're a highly disciplined and structured person. You are very responsible. And because it's an Aquarius, you take on the responsibility of other people. You care deeply for other people and you work hard to take care of other people, to make sacrifices for other people. You're a very responsible person. But sometimes you do need to pay closer attention to yourself because you could drain yourself by giving too much to other people, sacrificing too much. So while this is good that you're taking on responsibility and you have this karma to give back to others, you also want to make sure that you're taking care of your own health, your own well being, your own happiness. This becomes extremely important. If Saturn has gone into the second house of the chart, then this can show some issues in the early childhood experience. There could have been some difficulties early on in life where you felt a little bit restricted or closed off. You could have come from a very strict and disciplined home environment. There could be issues related to your speech as well. You could have talked less when you were a child, or there was some kind of speech issue that you had to deal with. But once you were able to deal with this, you excelled with speaking ability, and this became a key to your success, to your ability to build wealth and security. And this could also show some irregularity with your eating habits, or you could be very particular about eating with this position. Sometimes this could even show separation from family because it's in Pisces, which deals with foreign travel, separation. So there could be some kind of split in the early family situation as well. If Saturn has gone into the third house of the chart, then this definitely shows some issues related to siblings. There could be distance with siblings. It may not necessarily be something that is outright arguments and conflicts, but you may just feel distant from your siblings, like there's difficulty communicating, connecting with them, relating with them, or it may even show no siblings at all with Saturn being in its debilitation position. Definitely, this shows, though, issues with communication. There could have been some learning disabilities early on in life, issues with language early on, but this is something that you can overcome with hard work and discipline. Sometimes this position could also show some fears around travel or some anxiety issues early on as well. But as you get older with this position, this can actually help you in gaining more wisdom, more knowledge in spirituality, philosophy, travel, and different experiences of life. If Saturn has gone into the fourth house of the chart, then this means that your mother could have been someone who was very strict, very disciplined, who wanted to create a sense of stability for you. And the mother also could have went through difficulties on her own as well, trying to raise and support the family. There could have been some struggle early on. This can definitely show that you want to have a sense of security. You want to have that sense of home and comfort because Saturn is in the sign of Taurus. So you're very concerned about that sense of family and security. So as you get older, you want to build your own home. You want to build that stable foundation for yourself. If Saturn has gone into the fifth house of the chart, then Saturn is placed in the sign of Gemini. So you are extremely intelligent. You are someone who loves to learn, who loves to gather information. There could be some speech related or learning issues, but with hard work and effort, you overcome this. And you're very disciplined, very hardworking, and practical with your education. You could go all the way to the top with this position. This can also show issues related to children sometimes, but ultimately, because Saturn is placed well, you are very disciplined and hardworking when dealing with children. You do very well as a parent with this position. And this could also make you an entrepreneur. You could get into speculative business, but you work hard, you put discipline into it, and you can be very successful in this area. Sometimes, though, because Saturn's here, you want to be careful of getting into too much gambling and investments with this placement. Taking too many risks could hurt your wealth with this placement. So that's something to be cautious of also. If Saturn has gone into the sixth house of the chart, then this means that you have to take your health very seriously. There could be some health related concerns. And because the sixth house deals with digestion, there could be issues related to the stomach with this placement, or again, issues related to fluid retention, to the stomach, to all sorts of issues related to emotions and mental concerns that need to be sorted out with this placement. This, though, does make you very much inclined towards your health, towards your sense of diet and routine becomes very important to you. This can make you very responsible and disciplined in your work life as well. You take it very seriously. Sometimes you could have issues in your workplace, though, not getting along with coworkers, having some difficulties with competitors with this placement that could create some health related issues. So that's something, again, to watch out for with this position. If Saturn has gone into the seventh house of the chart, then this can mean that you have a stable, long lasting relationship with Saturn here. Saturn is all about longevity. But because Saturn is in the sign of Leo, there can be some issues though. Saturn does not enjoy being in Leo. And sometimes this can mean that your partner is overbearing, too demanding, too dramatic, too much of wanting attention from you, which can create some issues within the relationship. Sometimes you could feel like you're the only one putting effort into the relationship, or that you're having some major struggles and obstacles that can make you feel drained through your relationships. This could also show that your partner is older, more mature with this placement sometimes as well. And this could be a good placement for business sometimes also. But with this placement, you sometimes don't like or feel comfortable being in a leadership position. You want to have this sense of being equal in this situation. So you could do well in self employment or partnership with this placement sometimes. If Saturn has gone into the eighth house of the chart, then Saturn has gone into the sign of Virgo. So you are very analytical, very detail oriented, and because it's in the eighth house, you could be a skilled researcher. You want to get to the bottom of everything. You get to the small details of everything. You want to get to the truth, to dive into the deeper meaning of life. And because it's in Virgo, though, it's more practical where you could get into scientific fields, into deep research. You may not always trust mysticism or spirituality with this placement. Sometimes you have to work really hard to trust your intuition and to realize that you have this ability in you. If Saturn has gone into the ninth house of the chart, then this could mean that you have a strong connection with your father with this placement. But father can be a very disciplined, authoritative person who wants you to follow the rules, wants you to follow a certain path in life. And the father could be someone who's very intelligent because this is coming under the sign of Libra in its exaltation. So definitely father can be very intelligent, very disciplined with this placement. And this could teach you a lot in your own journey about being disciplined, about using your sense of intelligence to really find success in life. This could make you interested in spirituality and higher truth with this position. But again, because this is more of an intellectual placement, you may struggle with this sometimes, where you need to trust that these belief systems are something that are true for you. And because it's in Libra, which is about balance, you don't like to have hardcore belief systems, to have dogmas, doctrines, things that restrict and oppress people. You like to have fair and balanced belief systems. This could make you a lawyer, a judge, someone who wants to bring about fairness and justice in the world. And sometimes this could create obstacles with higher education or travel early on in life. But these are things that you can progress in as you get older, definitely because Saturn is exalted here. This is very auspicious for your higher learning and adventures, gaining that experience through life. Saturn is placed in the 10th house, and this means that Saturn is in the sign of Scorpio. So you definitely want to be independent in your career. You want to be the person in charge or the person who has your own space to yourself. This becomes extremely important to you. And you could be thrust into a leadership position because Saturn in Scorpio is definitely a leader. You are someone who's able to organize and to bring people together to really make a difference through your career situation. This definitely, though, can create some obstacles and frustrations sometimes through the career, especially early on with this placement. But ultimately, you're able to rise with this position for sure. If Saturn has gone into the 11th house of the chart, then Saturn is positioned in the sign of Sagittarius. So you have higher values in life. You have very strong morals, beliefs. You are all about following the rules, having a higher sense of consciousness becomes very important to you. And you could be very strict sometimes about really sharing these beliefs with other people, wanting other people to follow the rules also. Sometimes this could also come through your network circle, though, where you could attract people into your life who also are very strict, very disciplined, all about following the rules, the higher principles of life. Sometimes it could create distance with an elder sibling if you have one, but Saturn here could also just mean that you are the one who is the eldest. You're the one who takes on this role and responsibility. This also could make you restricted in your friend circle. You don't like to be a part of unnecessary groups and connections. You want people who are of value, people who are committed to you, people who bring something of value into your life. So you don't really waste your time on unnecessary small talk and on all of these social dynamics. You really stick to your close friends and connections. Sometimes it can mean that you hang on to old friends as well, that you take those connections and relationships very seriously. And definitely when it comes to achieving your goals in life, when it comes to your higher hopes, wishes, and dreams through this 11th house, you work really hard and tirelessly to make this come true. You can be very successful with this position. It could mean sometimes, though, that your gains come slowly to you, that there's this slow build of wealth that comes through your career. If Saturn has gone into the 12th house of the chart, then Saturn is in its own sign of Capricorn where it feels very much comfortable. Saturn 12th house, though, could bring some fears, some karmic situations that have to be dealt with. But because Saturn is comfortable in its own sign, you deal with these things very well. You can let go of the past. You can make changes, work on yourself. You put a ton of work and effort into really overcoming some of these difficulties in your life. Sometimes this could create obstacles in relationship to sleep, though. You could have irregular or broken sleep patterns, difficulties falling asleep at night. So, definitely that's something that you want to take care of. This could show that there are fears related to travel sometimes, though, where you may travel later on in life or travel less compared to other people. This could also be a position where you do work that is behind the scenes, that is in some kind of institution, prison, school, hospital with this position, or that you do work with foreigners. You do some kind of foreign dealings with this position, but you put a ton of hard work and effort into this. So let's talk about the different nakshatras that come under the sign of Capricorn. Starting off with Dhanishta, which we talked about Dhanishta in our previous video of Capricorn Ascendant. It is split between Capricorn and Aquarius. And with this position, you take your oaths, your agreements very seriously. You keep your word when you have set out to do something. This could mean that you're a very calm, laid back person. But if there's other things that are in the chart that could increase anger, that could also happen as well. But mostly, you're a very relaxed, laid back person with this position. It could show that you're very independent as well. You take your freedom very seriously. And sometimes, if you're in a relationship where your partner is being too smothering, this can make you very unhappy and depressed, where you could struggle with your relationships. You also have a great love for music. You could be skilled with playing musical instruments. You could be a skilled dancer. You have excellent rhythm and timing. And not only in the area of music, but just in general in your life, you have excellent timing. When you say you're going to be somewhere at a certain time, you arrive exactly at that time and you find yourself in the right place at the right time where you are able to receive opportunities through people who can elevate you in life. This can make you very skilled, sometimes in real estate and dealing with property concerns, but mainly that's on the Capricorn side. With Aquarius here, this definitely could mean that you could gain success through prominent people in your life. You can attract the right people to help you to gain wealth, to gain fame with this position. You could be someone who's very well recognized through your connections. Sometimes it could also get you into the medical field or give you an interest in medicine. You could be interested in Chinese medicine, Ayurveda, Reiki, pranic healing with this position for some of you. And this could also get you into martial arts, into different physical activities. Definitely with this placement, you love to travel, you love to explore different places. And you are very selfless, especially when it comes to taking care of children. You are fierce. You put a ton of effort and sacrifice into your children and are very protective. So, if you have Shatabhisha rising in your chart, this means that you are a little bit more introverted compared to other people with Aquarius rising. You value your privacy, your alone time. And when you are at social gatherings and events, you don't like to stay for too long. Once you've had enough, you can just leave without even saying goodbye. With this position, you could also have a love of living in a gated community. You could have a love of living in a space where you are closed in from the dangers of the world. You can be very security oriented and you like to remain behind the scenes with this position. This could get you into spy, detective work, surveillance. You are sometimes fascinated by human psychology by just watching the actions and behaviors of other people from the sidelines. This position could make you interested in spirituality as well, into UFOs, aliens, mysticism, magic, all sorts of otherworldly things. Sometimes you could find that you want to de stress through alcohol and drugs, which may be something that you want to be careful of. But you can have all sorts of strange experiences through experimenting with drugs where you want to have these out of body experiences, spiritual experiences, sometimes with this position. And although you are someone who likes your privacy, your alone time, at some point in your life, you may be called to do something in the public or something that has to do with a large group or gathering, because this is what the sign of Aquarius is all about, is these larger groups where you're trying to make a difference in the world. This could get you into medicine as well, but mainly for Shatabisha, there tends to be an attraction towards wanting to find medical solutions. You could have strange illnesses, things that can't be explained. You could go to the doctors and find that they find nothing at all, yet you are having all of these symptoms and difficulties. So you could search far and wide looking for different medical professionals, specialists with this placement, trying to find a cure to your illnesses. You could be very skilled with photography. Again, you tend to make great detectives. You have this desire to want to watch other people, to see what their actions are, to see what they're up to. You could even be anonymous online where you don't have any kind of picture or any information online, but you just like to watch other people. You're definitely a very eccentric person. And you are interested in all sorts of eccentric subjects with this placement. Again, you love to explore otherworldly subjects into spirituality, into aliens, UFOs, conspiracies with this position. You could have an interest in drawing circular patterns sometimes, or playing with toys at a young age that are circular, like playing with trains. Or even as you get older, you could be into circular jewelry or something circular on your outfit with this position as well. If Purva Bhadrapada is rising in your chart, then you are a very eccentric, unorthodox person. You are very much someone who is misunderstood by others. You have your own way of being that is very unique and different. You're definitely a spiritual person. You're into spirituality, mysticism, into UFOs, aliens, all sorts of otherworldly things. Sometimes with Purva Bhadrapada, you do want to be careful of taking on debt, though, because sometimes there is difficulty with paying off debts with this position. You could have a great love of murder mystery, detective stories. You could be into the science field with this position. You love to uncover mysteries, to get into what is the deeper truth, what is the deeper meaning. Sometimes this position can give an extreme duality, though. This is represented by a man with two faces. So you could be as saintly as you are devious with this placement. And some people with Purva Bhadrapada do tend to lean towards the darker side of life, while others will lean more towards the positive side. But mainly those with Purva Bhadrapada tend to be very caring, very down to earth, very friendly people. And they want to help, they want to make a difference. You can be big humanitarians, very philanthropic, where you want to make a change within society. You also tend to have a very high level of intelligence, sometimes to the point where other people don't even understand you. You have this mad scientist approach towards life. Sometimes you could also be dissatisfied with work that you get done in your home as well. You could always feel like the work that you get done is always unfinished or something is not as you want it to be. You tend to have some deep fears and anxieties as well, but you also have this fascination of exploring your fears. You want to explore the darker side to get into your fears. And especially, you could have a fascination with horror films, horror genre, getting into all sorts of strange and scary experiences to try to explore these fears at a deeper level. Typically, for Purva Bhadrapada people, spirituality and meditation is extremely healing. It helps you to deal with so much anxiety and to calm yourself down. There also could be some hidden anger in Purva Bhadrapada as well. And by exercising, again, getting into spiritual practices, meditation, this helps you to release that pent up anger, which is extremely beneficial to you. You could also have some strange experiences related to weather where you never seem to be satisfied with the temperature. It's either too cold or too hot. And you could also have a fascination with moving to really hot and dry areas, like wanting to live in the desert area with Purva Bhadrapada as well. Definitely, Purva Bhadrapada is a difficult nakshatra to have because it demands a ton of spiritual work, which means that you have to face some fears, to do some deep shadow work with this position. So, sometimes in the beginning part of life, you can make some mistakes, you can run into some difficult situations, and you have to overcome this. But ultimately, you're able to rise through these challenges, and it makes you wiser, it makes you more spiritual, it helps with your spiritual progress. And this is actually a position that can take you through spiritual awakening and all sorts of strange phenomena, all sorts of experiences where you can even run into aliens, UFOs, out of body experiences with this position where it really elevates your level of consciousness. So, the Venus and Mercury Dasha tends to be the most auspicious periods for Aquarius Ascendant people. Venus, especially because it is Yoga Karaka for the chart. So the Venus Dasha can be a great time of connecting with family, a great time of travel, of learning with this position for sure. Of course, you want to see what is the position of Venus in the chart. This becomes extremely important to understand. Mercury is definitely going to be an auspicious time for you as well. It can be great for your studies, great for connection with children, but sometimes because it also rules the eighth house, you could have dramatic ups and downs. But these ups and downs could also be in your favor as well. You want to check to see what is the position of Mercury in the chart. Sun, Jupiter, and Moon tend to be the most difficult dasha periods for Aquarius people. The Sun can be a time where you could attract relationship opportunities, marriage opportunities. It could be a good time for business opportunities, but there may be conflicts as well where you have to deal with people who are dominating, who are controlling. And sometimes you have to learn how to put yourself before others and to take care of your own happiness and needs. So it becomes a time of really stepping into your own power, which can be a little bit challenging for some of you. Jupiter Dasha can be a time where you attract wealth into your life, where you attract all sorts of opportunities, but it could also be a time where you face some difficulties in relationship to social networks, to people who you are connected with for some of you. The Moon Dasha is definitely a very unpredictable one because Moon waxes and wanes. So you really want to check to see what is the position of Moon, but because it rules the sixth house, it will bring some obstacles because you care so much about humanity. You're going to be very sensitive to the struggles of the world, which means you definitely have to take care of your health. You have to practice routines that make you feel happy, that make you feel calm at this time. This becomes extremely important. Saturn and Mars are neutral planets for the chart. So, Saturn definitely can bring you success at this time. It can make you very powerful, very strong within yourself. But it could also take you into isolation. It could take you into foreign lands, and you may have to deal with some expenses or losses at this time. Saturn always demands a tremendous amount of responsibility for Aquarius people. So there may be people who lean on you at this time and this could put a little bit of stress on you. So it is all about being able to balance out taking care of the needs of others and taking care of your own needs as well. The Mars Dasha could be very good for your career, where you become extremely determined, motivated, action oriented at this time. You're driven to achieve. But there may be conflicts because Scorpio rules the 10th house. So watch out for scandals, hidden affairs, getting into things that could create obstacles in your reputation. Rahu, Ketu are neutral times. Rahu does rule your first house, so it may bring up some things related to your own individuality towards taking care of your health, your physical body. It could give you fame as well. But you want to see what sign is Rahu placed in because it will give the effects of the Lord of that sign. So, for example, if Rahu is placed in the sign of Aries, you want to see where is Mars in the chart. This will give you a greater clue as to what Rahu period will be like for you. Rahu, for everyone, though, becomes a very confusing time because it can increase your ambitions, your desires, which can make your mind very restless where you don't know which direction to go in. The Ketu Dasha tends to be a time of cutting out and removing things from the past. But again, you want to check to see what sign is Ketu in to really get a huge clue about what this is going to do in your chart. So I hope you all enjoyed this. If you like this, don't forget to hit the like button. If you are new to this, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any new content. And I will see you all in the next video.